Oh, three identical of the puzzle she took back vanish. Do I have to read any of the other stories to figure out who's who? Probably. Okay. Ugh, this is gonna be a little bit of work. Once upon a time, in an ancient and deep forest, there lived a big frog in a snail pound. She was a peaceful creature. Ooh, this is what we're gonna do, because I'm. Oh my god, so much better. The frog earns the right to speak. Once upon a time, in an ancient and deep forest, there lived a big frog in a small pond. She was a peaceful creature who spent most of her time eating, swimming, and sleeping. From the morning to the evening, she did everything the smaller frogs did, except she did it bigger. She ate more, she jumped farther, she was smarter, and she made much more noise. Everyone in the forest could hear her loud croaking, and everybody was happy that they could. You see, it was easy to get lost in the forest. But thanks to the frog's loud noise, you could just as easily find your way back to her pond. Maybe it would not have been the same if the big frog had kept singing during the night, but she was much too lazy an animal to stay active after dark. One day, an unknown visitor came to the forest for the first time. It was a young woman dressed in a beautiful gown. She was walking fast through the woods as if she was running away, and she had never looked back. Many eyes spied the princess pass by, but no one dared to help her, for the mad hunter was on her trail. This is not our business, they said, and we had better look away, for the mad hunter was an unyielding man who loved nothing but hunting down prey for money and glory. Nothing could escape his piercing eye for long. So the princess walked along without help, and she was helplessly lost in the big forest. Exhausted, she pressed on with no idea of where she was headed as the hunter drew ever closer, dodged in her pursuit. She continued this way until she heard a heavy croaking far off to her left, so clear and loud that the princess immediately made for the source of the noise, and a few minutes later she reached the big frog in the small pond, and the frog looked at her with a gentle smile. "Help me, please," said the princess. "I need a place to rest and to hide." "Ribbit, ribbit," answered the frog, and the princess frowned. "Please stop making noise. The mad hunter is after me." "Ribbit," said the frog again, so loud that the princess had to cover her ears. The creature began to jump every which way. "What are you doing?" asked the princess. "Stop all that noise, or he will find us." But the frog kept croaking and jumping around her left and right and up and down, ribbit, ribbit, until the princess understood the meaning of all the fuss. Cautiously the woman climbed on the back of the big animal, and then with a leap the frog set off away from the pond. The frog jumped so high and so far that even the hunter could not find where the princess had gone. With a few jumps the princess was out on his piercing eye. A few jumps more and she had vanished for good. The princess closed her eyes and let her clever mount carry her wherever the creature pleased. Less than an hour later, the big frog had reached the other side of the ancient forest, near the shores of the very deep lake. There she landed without a noise in front of a wooden house that had been abandoned. "Thank you," said the princess, covering the animal's snout with kisses. "I only wish you could speak, so I have to understand what you were trying to do sooner." As she pronounced those words, something incredible happened. The big frog was suddenly able to speak. Her first words startled the princess. "The mad hunter is always at my heels. Now you're safe, and I had my revenge. You can stay in this house. I've been abandoned for a long time, and no one will look for you here." And then, without looking back, the big frog jumped back to the pond. And this is how the big frog saved the princess, and how she earned the right to speak. Uh, Okay. So the frog helps her. Trying to see who has what. Once upon a time, in the ancient and deep forest, the old bear stood on the brink of the river, swinging the salmon on their way to the spawning ground. Just as he got his paw on the particular fat one, he heard a woman shouting for help. He considered simply eating his salmon, but then she screamed again, and he lumbered over to investigate. After a short walk, he found the princess clinging to the top of the tree, while a wolf snarled and snapped at the base of the tree. Old Bear would normally not get in the middle of such a situation. After all, as a fellow predator, he understood the wolf's need to hunt. But when he saw the princess, he was struck by her beauty, and he knew he had to help. With a great roar, the bear heaved into his hind legs, heaved onto his hind legs, rising to his full height. The wolf snapped and snarled in his direction, but the bear roared again, and the wolf took off into the trees, tail between his legs. The old bear fell back down onto all fours and stared up at the princess. She regarded him fearfully. "You can come down," he said. "How do I know you didn't save me just so you could eat me yourself?" asked the princess. "I suppose this is a fair question," admitted the old bear, "but I promise I won't eat you." The princess had no reason to trust old bear, she except that he had kind eyes, and so she slowly made her way down the tree. When she reached the ground, the bear only watched her, and so she supposed she was not going to be eaten today. "Thank you," she told the old bear. "Of course," he said. "Can I walk you back to your home?" "Of course," said the princess, and so the princess and the old bear walked home together through the forest, back to the big wooden house. And after that day, the princess would occasionally find gifts from the bear: a fresh caught salmon, a handful of ripe berries, a newly bloomed bluebell. One spring, when the sudden thaw flooded the path out of the princess's home, the old bear was there, and she rode his back across the river. The old bear began to think that the princess should be his mate. After all, God, that's gross. She had no mate, and she needed one, and he could keep her warm and provide her with much more suitable den, and catch fish for her, and protect her from the wolves. She, in turn, would brush out his fur and pick berries, and without smushing half of them, and scratch that one part of his back he couldn't reach. Okay, I have a dirty mind. And then with how she took care of all the goblins, she would be an excellent mother for his cubs. Yeah, okay. One day the old bear came with a ring and a purse and asked the princess to be his bride. "I'm sorry," said the princess. "You are a very good friend, and I appreciate all you've done for me, but I cannot marry you. You're a bear, I'm a princess. It would never work." "It will never work." The old bear was crushed. "Can we still be friends?" he asked. "We will always be friends," said the princess. "Bro, you just got friend zoned. I'm sorry. But I will never marry you." The old bear and the princess carried on their friendship. After 1 year, he tried again to ask her to be his bride, but once again she refused him. This happened 1 year later, and 1 year after that, and then finally the princess said, "Old bear, you are my dear friend, and I appreciate all you have done for me, but I would sooner you have left me to the wolves than marry you. That is how it will always be. I have my hands full with the two goblins who live under my house, and they are all I need." That wounded the old bear deeply, but it was finally enough to stop his proposals. They remained friends, and he continued to give her gifts of fresh salmon and ripe berries, and newly bloomed bluebells. But the old bear never again asked the princess to be his bride, and much as he had wanted to, and that is how the princess befriended the old bear and how she refused him. They remained friends, blah blah blah, salmon. I don't know if this is gonna... The beaver fixes the house. Once upon a time, in an ancient and deep forest, there lived a wise princess in a big wooden house. One night, a particularly violent storm shook the house. It shook the shingles on the roof and the planks in the walls. It even shook the beams on which the house stood. Blowing the whole time near to the ground, the princess had hid in a closet, fearing the house would come down on her as she slept in the morning. The house was still standing, but it was badly damaged. The storm had blown shingles off the roof and planks off the walls, and even bent a post upon which the house stood. The first two things she could fix, but the last concerned her. "What will I do?" despaired the wise princess, for though she knew many things, she did not know how to fix the big wooden house. Just then the old bear came by to see if the princess had any trouble in the storm. When he found her nailing planks back into place, he said, "Stop, princess, let me do that for you." "I'm happy to do it," said the princess, "but if you want to help with the roof, you may." When the pair was done with the roof and the walls they examined, they bent support post. I could throw my body against it," said the old bear. "I am very large," and he stretched up with his hind legs, being sure the princess could appreciate how very large he was. Then charged straight to the post. He threw his body against it with an impressive thud. The impact moved the post, but too far, and it ended up bent the other direction. The wise princess decided more precision was needed. She thought then of the very old bear, who kept on excellent crafted dam. Perhaps she could help. She went looking for the very old beaver and found the industrious animal hard at work, slapping down mud on a part of her dam that had been blown apart in the storm. Most of the structure was unharmed because the beaver was very good at building things. The princess knew she had come to the right place. "Beaver," she said, "my house was damaged in the storm. Would you help me fix it?" "I believe I could do that, yes," said the very old beaver, and she paused at fixing her own den to follow the princess. The very old beaver examined the big wooden house and nodded. "It will be an easy fix," she said, and she set up righting the post with a loud slaps of her tail. Then, when that was done, the wise princess stroked the beaver's head. "Thank you, beaver," and she said. The wind blew the shingles off the roof and the planks off the walls and even bent the posts. "Now, thanks to you, I still have a home." "Think nothing of it," said the very old beaver, who returned to work to her own den once again. That winter, the very old beaver grew ill, very ill. She was not able to fix her den, nor to gather food. When the princess found out, she set out delivering meals to the beaver. She brought stews of corn and beans and baskets full of bark and twigs from the beaver's favorite aspen. One day, the wise princess noticed that the beaver's den had begun to fall apart. She set about fixing it, and though she was not as talented as the very old beaver, the fix kept the creature warm and dry. "Thank you," said the very old beaver. "Of course," said the princess. "You helped me when the storm blew my house near to the ground. Thanks to you, I still have a home, and I am happy to do the same." The princess continued to nurse the old beaver until the day she came to the dam, and the forest was still. No birds sang, no branches rustled, no small things skittered within the underbrush. "No," said the princess, staring sadly at the dam, for she knew the old beaver had posed on. "Goodbye, my friend." And that is how the very old beaver saved the big wooden house, and how the wise princess repaired her kindness. Okay. Hey Ron, I'm back. I had just looked it up because I don't even get what in the clue is saying how I would figure this out, but I think it's this. Oh. Knowledge, weapon, money, and I don't know why the Pelican would.
And boom, we're in.
After so many years, I expected this to feel more, like a win.
Speak for yourself. I'm the one who solved the riddle.
Why do I feel like you're not gonna let me forget that? Where do you think we should start looking?
I don't know. Where in this mess would she stash someone else's personal thoughts? Sewing lessons were the absolute worst.
She made all our clothes. I'm sure she needed the help. And I
I tried to read this one. I could never figure out the order of the chapters, though.
Didn't the author go insane or something? No wonder Marianne liked it.
Sewing lessons were the absolute worst.
She made all our clothes. I'm sure she needed the help. And I, for one, am happy I can fix a torn seam.
Sewing lessons were the absolute worst.
She made all our clothes. I'm sure she needed the help. And I, for one, am happy I can fix a torn seam.
It's here. I knew it. I fucking knew it.
Do you think she read it?
Of course. She was nosy as hell.
Tyler.
What?
Look.
What? Where did you find that?
It was on her desk with her papers.
Seriously? Are you fucking kidding me?
Look, we gotta be really careful not to overthink this.
But it doesn't make any sense. She was mad, right? She was mad I cut my hair. She attacked me because I cut my hair.
She was mad and she attacked you. We both saw it.
Then what is this shit?
I don't know. Tyler, come here.
She can't do this to me. Not now. When I've finally made sense of a few things.
Well, that was your first mistake. Thinking the world made any kind of sense. "10 years in the grave, and she's still finding new ways to piss us off."
Just don't understand.
I think I need some air.
miss out on something because of that? I might go back.